Hi lovely rubies, welcome to the second episode of the Believe podcast. If you're new, hi, my name is Hannah Ruby. So the Believe podcast is, and I'm going to just look at my blurb because I wrote down exactly how I want to say it. So the Believe podcast is an uplifting show with the focus on positivity, self-belief and creating actionable steps towards your dreams. So sometimes it will be just me, and sometimes I'll be joined by some amazing, inspiring, special guests, and kind of between us all we'll be sharing some tips and advice on life, happiness and success, and business, things like that. So yeah, this is my first episode on my own, so sorry if I ramble a little bit. I'm going to try and keep the timer short so I don't go off on a tangent. So I thought it could be really great to have as a theme this week about small steps equaling big results. So I basically kind of have 5 main points I want to cover about the importance of small steps. So, and some examples of how it's really helped me in my life. You can follow me online. I am at hannahrubymusic, or I also now have a very, very exciting other social platform called Ruby Music Academy. So basically, what is Ruby Music Academy? I'm just referring to my little blurb because I like to write things out so I don't get all tongue-tied. Basically, Ruby Music Academy is all about music and mindset, primarily for other musicians, but also other creatives or those who want more for themselves. They want to be part of an uplifting community of like-minded people who lift each other up to grow and go after their biggest dreams. So through Ruby Music Academy, you'll find lots of resources, tips and advice around mindset, dreaming big, creating, organisation and tips for musicians at all levels, even those just considering it and have no experience being a musician at all. And of course with lots of sparkle and red. So if you want to know more, that's like a little brief overview of it. If you'd like to find out a bit more, go and follow those socials. And yeah, I have some more information there. So back to small steps equal big wins. So this really has been very, very important to me, to be honest, because I feel like I've always been someone that's tried to do a bit too much. Really inspiring woman I follow called Denise Duffield-Thomas, and she had a quiz on her website called Sacred Money Archetypes Quiz. And sorry, another ambulance, 1 minute. So she had this quiz on her website about your money archetype, basically your kind of your personality, and it really does go deeper than money. I found my top 3 was an accumulator, a nurturer and a ruler. So I won't go into all of this too much. If you are interested in taking the quiz and finding out a bit more about your personality, I'll leave it in the show notes or linked it on my social somewhere, or you can just put in Denise Duffield-Thomas Sacred Money Archetypes Quiz. And it was so incredibly eye-opening. In fact, I got all my family to do this quiz because it really explained a lot about the way I approach things. And the way I approach things, basically, I've got on one side, I've got this accumulator that's very kind of sensible and on the side of caution. And then I've got the other side of me, that's this ruler that wants, like, has all these big grand visions and plans and everything that I'm like, yes, let's go now. And then in the middle, I've got the nurturer where I care very deeply about people and wanting to help them. So you can see on one end having the accumulator and the rule on the other end, it kind of like push and pull. So anyway, that was a bit of a ramble, but basically the point is it was really key for me to have those small steps because I've got this kind of push and pull personality. So the first thing was about being able to stick to it. So and the consistency. So for example, my song Lights Out. So that was the first, actually no, I tell a lie, that wasn't the first one. That was a song where I did all the production for it, and there was a lot of things going on with that song. And initially it was quite overwhelming because I mean it was definitely the first song that I kind of really deep dived into like production and how to produce a song. And it got very overwhelming when I thought about all the things I need to do to make this song. I mean, I think if you're a musician, you'll know, but if you're not, you know, there's so, sorry, my stomach's rumbling. There's so much that goes in to making a 2, 3, 4 minute song. Absolutely loads and loads of planning and work. And it's the same for any other creation things. You know, if you create things and make things, you'll know this too, that, you know, someone might look at something and go, oh, that's nice, and then move on to the next thing, whereas it's taking you ages. So it can be quite overwhelming in a way when you think, oh, I've got all these steps to do, and then at the end of it, people got to go, oh, that's nice, you know, and, you know, but we do it because we love creating, but also there will be those people that absolutely love it, and it will really impact their life in a really positive and powerful way. But anyway, the point is with Lights Out, my original song, I basically broke up the whole process of making this song and worked out everything I needed to do, even down to just like recording vocals. That was even too much. I kind of went, okay, I'm going to record a rough version of the vocals, and then I'm going to come back to it, and then maybe I'll do, you know, a slightly better version of the vocals, and then a slightly better version. And then when I kind of went, right, it came to do the final vocals, okay, well, I'll just do the final vocals on verse 1. And it really, really was very slow. To be honest, I'd like to think maybe I could do it a little bit quicker now, but this was kind of the first one I really kind of deep dived into. And it was really important to me to be able to stick to it, to have those really, really small broken up steps to work on this song. And it actually meant I was able to finish it. And it also means now when I come back to creating a new song, I've got this plan where I can go, those are the steps I took. Those are the small steps I took. Sorry, my stomach keeps rumbling. It's really, it's typical. So yeah, it was really, really good for me for that. The second reason I think it's important is it really gives you a sense of achievement a lot quicker. If you're going, oh, I've got all these things to do, it takes a very long time to kind of feel like, oh, I've achieved something. If you're only focusing on that very end point of the creation process, you're missing out on that journey and the celebrating of those little wins along the way. So with Lights Out, it was really great that I had loads of different things that I could celebrate along the way. Yay, I've started the vocals. Amazing, I found a new instrument to put into the song that I've discovered, you know, and it really was great because I could go along my tick list and tick things off constantly, which really made me feel like I was progressing quicker, you know. So the third reason small steps is important is so it's not too overwhelming, and it kind of is tying to like the stick to it kind of thing. These are all linked, but so it's not too overwhelming. So my example for this is driving. Long story short, basically I had one kind of bad experience with driving. I say one bad experience. I had one bad instructor that really put me off wanting to drive, and I came away from it for years, and I just kind of felt like, oh, I felt like I couldn't do it. So it was really important to me to have those little steps to get back in. So first it was going, actually, yes, I'd like to learn to drive again. That was kind of like admitting it to myself. That was the first bit. Then it was, okay, I'm going to put it out there that I'm interested in learning to drive and that I want a really kind instructor who can be very sensitive, but also kind of, you know, push me to grow. And then it was like very little steps. Okay, I found someone that I think would be a good fit, sending her a message. And then it was each week I would do a driving lesson. It wasn't this big thing. I would focus on one little bit of driving, you know, whether that's, you know, moving up into third gear, using the clutch, junctions, using roundabouts, driving a new route. It was all these little things that built up to make it so I could drive. And I'm so glad I did that. And my driving instructor was absolutely lovely. The one that helped me pass, she was brilliant. And but yeah, those little steps actually meant so that I started to drive again, and now I have a driving license. I've been driving for 3 or 4 years, but 5 years ago I would have told you absolutely no way, like maybe driving something I'm not meant to do, which, you know, it was ridiculous because obviously I'm capable. I just had a bad experience, but those small steps helped me get back into it all. So the next important reason why small steps are important is you get real-time feedback. So with my social media, that's been a really, really big journey. So I started off years and years and years ago, and I think before I even set up a page, I used to just put videos up on my personal Facebook page. Then I decided I would create a separate page for it, and I think the page was just called The Hannah TT, because spoiler alert, my last name isn't Ruby. So I think that's what I called the page. And then I kind of got more into branding and trying to work out like a stage name and stuff. So then it became Hannah Ruby, because I liked red lipstick, and that's a whole story for another day. But then I went, okay, Hannah Ruby, and I like wearing red lipstick, so I wore red lipstick sometimes when I performed. Then I thought, okay, well, I'm actually going to do that now. I'm going to wear the red lipstick. I'm going to advertise myself as Hannah Ruby. I might even go a step further next, and I'm going to wear red outfits and kind of vintagey style stuff. And it was really great because I could see what things were working with my social media and what wasn't, just by doing small steps and just showing up. That's one thing with social media, is that just show up and be consistent, even if that's posting once a week. That's much better than having this great big plan and then putting it out there and then, you know, it not working, or you find that it's too much to manage. Or I need to kind of take my own advice here, actually, because I'm kind of revamping my socials at the moment and trying to work out how often I want to post and on what platform. And I have a sneaky suspicion I possibly may have over-planned and been a bit over-ambitious, but we'll see. But the approach I'm gonna take forward is small steps. If it's too much what I'm trying to do, if it's too much, then I go back to the drawing board. I go, okay, let's strip this right back, which is posting on Facebook and Instagram 3 times a week, and then I build up again. But it's important to get that real-time feedback from others, but also yourself, of what works for you. So the last tip about why small steps are important is you actually get it done. Now, I can be very perfectionist about things. It took me, well, I mean, I'm still working on it, to be honest, with songs, with my songs that I release. I'm trying to get into a habit of releasing more songs more often, and not kind of going, they have to be perfect, because, I mean, there's no such thing as perfect, because a lot of things are subjective. I mean, particularly art forms, like, you know, you could spend all this time putting your effort into something, and there'll always be someone that doesn't like it, and there'll be someone that loves it. It's like that, I think it's a Roald Dahl quote, you could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there'll still be someone that doesn't like peaches. And it's very, very true. So I find having those small steps and actually getting things done is a way to kind of bypass some of that perfectionism, because I'm just focusing on a very, very tiny thing. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be perfect anyway, because I'm just doing this very small little step, and rather than getting wrapped up in the whole big plan, you know. I also find it's a way to kind of work with fear. To be honest, I was really fearful to do driving lessons again, but I kind of was, you know, it wasn't like, right, you're gonna start driving and then go and take your driving test tomorrow. Like, I think, to be honest, even to begin with, I started with like a 1-hour lesson, and then when I felt a bit more comfortable about it, then I would do 2-hour lessons. So it was just kind of, you get yourself kind of, you're able to adapt to the situation and get comfortable with something that's probably not super comfortable. And obviously kind of getting out of our comfort zone is important to grow. So it's kind of, I think one thing I've really been thinking about this week is keep it super simple, and B, the path of least resistance, which is kind of like a similar sort of thing of just how can I get the thing done I want to get done. That's taking the path of least resistance, which is starting small and keeping it simple, you know. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts around small steps equaling big wins this week. I feel like I have rambled off a bit, but hopefully you found something valuable here. I'd love to know your thoughts about small steps, and times where taking small steps equaled a big win for you. I'd love it if you could follow the Believe podcast. So It's available on YouTube via video form and on Spotify via audio. So you can either subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow the podcast on Spotify and ring the bell notification to get notified, or both. Possibly you might like to watch the videos at home, and you might like to listen to the audio on a long drive, or when you've got some housework to do, or I don't know, something that you want on in the background. My plan is at the moment is to do a podcast every week, and sometimes I'll be joined by some amazing special guests too. So yes, I'm very excited. I have lots of really cool things coming up that I'm working on, so I would love it if you could follow me on social media. Again, that's at hannahrubymusic for kind of my stuff that I've got going on, and then at Ruby Music Academy for that platform and community I mentioned about helping kind of musicians, creatives, people believe in themselves, and kind of tips and advice around music, a mindset, creation, goal setting, and all that jazz. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.